Guys, if you're a fan of the SLY GUY Podcast and want to help support us move the podcast in a bigger and better direction, you can subscribe for as little as £2 a month to the SLY GUY Podcast Patreon. That's www.patreon.com/SLY GUY Podcast, where you get early access to the weekly podcast. You get the video podcast now early. You get the extra SLY GUY podcast and plenty more backlogged, archived podcasts, videos, the rest. We're going to be upping it soon. Once we get on top of the clips, once that's sorted, we'll be putting more stuff out on Patreon. So get there now before it's too overcrowded, before the queue's too long. Patreon.com/SLY GUY Podcast. The SLY GUY Podcast is also brought to you in association with Modest Beer. If you don't know by now what's going on, how do you not know about Modest Beer? I could sit here and pontificate about the quality that is Modest Beer, or I could just point you in the direction of their website, www.modestbeer.co.uk, where you can go and find out all the information that you want about them. And that was so overdramatic, so over the top. But go to their website and check it out. That's modestbeer.co.uk. And if you want to scoop yourself up some tins of Modest Beer or some Modest merch and you want a wee bit of a discount, you can use the discount code SLYPA15. That's SLYPA15 and get 15% out at checkout. Modest Beer is the shit.
I'm the SLY Guy.
Hello and welcome to this week's episode of the SLY GUY Podcast. I hope we find you well wherever you're listening or viewing the podcast. Yes, if you like to listen to the podcast, respect. I appreciate that. If you like to view the podcast on YouTube, I appreciate that too. What I would say though is if you enjoy what we're doing, subscribe to the YouTube channel. It's under my name. If you just go onto YouTube and just search SLY GUY Podcast, go onto the channel and follow. That'd be great if you subscribe there. The numbers are on the way up. Same with the audio listens. If you listen on Spotify, subscribe there. If it's Apple Music, subscribe there. It all helps the podcast. We're on a wee bit of a positive trajectory at the minute. That's easy for me to say, so I want to keep that moving forward as well. There's some exciting times coming forward with the podcast. We're looking doing a wee bit of a rebrand. There's be some merch coming your way very soon. It's all very exciting, so if you want to be part of that, make sure you're subscribed wherever you get the podcast, whatever medium excites you the most. And again, if you haven't subscribed to the Patreon, you get the early access to the podcast, which includes now the video podcast coming out every Wednesday, and the audio without adverts is there all the time. So it's a good time. Gigs this week are coming up. It's a lot of fun. I'm in Pug Uglies on Friday the 23rd of February. I'm hosting the night with Johnny Bow and Diona Doherty, so it's going to be a really nice night. That'll be a lot of fun. I'm excited about that. There'll be some drop-in sets as well. It's all good. And before I get into the meat and the veg of this week's podcast and explaining who the guest is, what we're talking about, what's going on, I want to point you in the direction of our new show, which is on BBC. It's on BBC One and it's on the iPlayer as we speak. And the show is Stand Up from the Sunflower, which is very much at its essence exactly what it says on the tin. It is some newer and established comedians from the local scene doing stand-up in the Sunflower pub. The show's great, if I do say so myself. Features a load of acts that you love, some that you mightn't have seen before, but it's a great platform. It looks really good, and hopefully everyone supports the show. And then, you know, if it does well, if it does some numbers, there could be scope to see more of it, maybe showcase some more talent, some more acts. For me personally, it's great to have been part of the process both before and during, and it's cool to be able to give something back, or to give some people a stage that maybe they hadn't had before, you know, some television exposure, some, you know, it's just good to see the scene doing well. You know, it's good to do that, and it feels nice and warm and fuzzy in my little heart to be part of that. So check that out, Stand Up from the Sunflower. It's on BBC One on Monday night, so that'll be this Monday coming. My episode will be on episode 2 at 11:30 on BBC One. And if you missed the episode 1, it's available now on the iPlayer. Just head on to iPlayer and search for Stand Up from the Sunflower. Now, this has been an episode that the people have been calling for quite some time. It is the return of the man It is a return of the myth. It is a return of the legend. My friend and yours, Psychic Glenn. Now, it's been a while, a hot minute since Glenn has been on the podcast. A lot of people are maybe worried about me and Glenn, whether we just weren't hanging out anymore. We've always been talking. We've always been friendly. Glenn's just been struggling a wee bit with some things, and he took a bit of time away, and he spoke very openly and candidly about it on this week's podcast. And I just want to say thank you for Glenn for doing that. I think some of the things that he talked about were, very useful, shedding a light on things that maybe people aren't aware of or don't necessarily understand. So big props to Glenn for that. Now, that being said, once we got the seriousness out of the way, it was back to the old. Back to what you expect when Dave and Psychic Glenn are together. It was just a fun time. Just friends being silly. We were obviously covering some of the big topics of the week. The big swinging topics of the week were featured quite heavily in this week's episode. We're obviously talking about what goes on with the elite and what happens with the occult, so how it intertwines, how crystals work. I was asking Glenn about stuff that I don't understand, and some of the questions I was throwing to him, I don't really think he understood too much too, but it was an absolute pleasure and an absolute delight to welcome back to the podcast, to his home podcast, the one, the only, Psychic Glenn.
It feels like it's been ages since I've sat round the round table.
It has been.
It's been a season or two.
Nearly about
6
months or
yes.
so. Yeah. And for a start,
Yes.
before we go anywhere, Glenn, welcome back to the SLY GUY
Thank
Podcast.
you. It's good to be back.
You know what? It's great to see you. It's
Yes.
good to see you. It's good to have you back. The people have been asking, how are you? What have you been up to? How are you? And what have you been up to?
I am feeling, Dave, I'll tell you, I'm feeling euphoric. Absolutely euphoric. Now, I don't know whether you understand ADHD, but sometimes you have so many thoughts that you feel paralysed. And not only that, there, I feel like last year, I didn't realise the need with medication increased. So I got it increased in January, and I feel fantastic.
Mm-hmm. And
Fantastic.
And what was that like for you? Like at the beginning, obviously, when you were...
Everything felt like hard work. Everything felt like... And I felt like I was always giving a part of myself and not, like, being properly organised. I don't know. Not having goals and not being, like... Honestly, I don't let anybody take care of me. I went over to England. My friends tried to take care of me. I was going to go to Guatemala for 3 months.
Of course.
And I was like, no, it's not happening, because if I flip out over there...
Can I ask why you were going to go to Guatemala?
wanted to-
What's the lure?
Well, there's a Mishi man over there.
Right. I don't know what a Mishi man is.
Mishi man is like Maximon. You can find it as Maximon. Anyway, he died in Libra. He's born in Libra. I'm Libra. And he was a wee man that helped the women. But they killed him in the end because they said that he was having relations with the women. Mm-hmm. Anyway, he's a deity. They have a wee deity statue of him there, and you go and you give him a cigarette. He's a chain-smoking, rum-drinking deity with a beard.
That sounds like Johnny Depp.
I was thinking maybe that's an effigy of a past life. Anyway, I thought about it. Is me, if I go down there again, the same thing might happen again. So I went over to England and played about with the horses for a while. And then I came back, and I'm ready to take on a new year.
Because I do want to ask you too, because obviously with our friendship now, we've been friends coming on 2 years now,
Yeah.
just over 2 years.
I know, 2
which
years.
has been a lot of fun. But some of the things that obviously that you have a very big platform on Facebook. You're following on the Psychic Glenn page and your readings and everything that you do there. With doing the podcast and almost sort of you find yourself going over to a different type of medium.
I love it because I'll tell you right now, like, people want me sometimes just for the message, just for the psychic ability. The podcast, like a wee bit of therapy. I can reveal myself, sense of humour, I can tell you secrets, I can be like da-da-da, you know what I mean?
But did you find, because obviously, how did you find coping with maybe added pressures that you didn't know? Because obviously you've done some television stuff, some radio stuff.
I just wish now I had been medicated more then. Mm-hmm. Truthfully, I actually, because I wouldn't, like, I haven't found myself in a bad mood at all this year, not once.
Because you know what, can I also say, you know when you can say to someone, oh, you look well.
Yeah.
You are looking well, but also, you know when you can tell by looking in someone's eyes, you look happy. Around,
Yes,
you know
I
what
am.
I mean?
I'm a lot happier. Like, And that's why I say to anybody that has ADHD, like, you definitely do need your medication, or you're not going to be able to, like, control your thoughts or your emotions.
And for me, it's obviously for someone that doesn't suffer from ADHD, and it's one of those things that I feel ADHD is a wee bit similar to how people view maybe like an OCD. They use it as a description of something. Oh, like, oh, I like to have a tidy house. Oh, I'm OCD.
Yeah.
You know, oh, I can't sit down. I procrastinate a bit. I'm ADHD. That's not the case.
Yeah.
How would you, to somebody that doesn't have ADHD, try to explain what it feels like or how it is?
When I don't take my medication, nothing gets done. No organisation. I have no motivation for anything at all. And I can't control my thoughts. I really cannot control my thoughts. And there's been a lot of thoughts come at once, and I can allow them to control me rather than the other way around.
And then do you feel like that then leads to other issues such as paranoia, other stuff like that? Is that what?
Oh, it can make my head go.
And how did things come to head for you? Like, how did you?
Do you really want to know?
You know what? If you're happy to say yes, I do.
Well,
but if you're
it
not,
all got too much. Like, it all starts to get too much. Glenn starts partying. Glenn starts going out. Glenn was going out and burning the candle at both ends, and then Glenn ended up having a meltdown.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I mean? But this is where I need to. I'm actually quite sensible. I don't really go out and drink and party at all.
Yeah.
I actually really don't. I did a lot when I was young, but not so much. I can't as I get older.
Do you feel still like you want to do it though?
No,
Cause
not really.
I was thinking.
I don't even feel like I need to go out and drink a party.
Yeah, like I've had 1 pint this year so far, and that's not been, again, through any kind of, oh, aren't I such a beacon of good health and behaviour. It's just been like, I get my other sort of kicks off of other things. Do you know that? I enjoy this more simple things as I've got older.
Exactly. It's just I can't be on that destructive path of drink and drugs and partying and all. It's just not me. And that's that's always a pattern that I've had. So I think I broke that pattern last year. I definitely did. I broke it.
For the better?
In the sense where I didn't, it might have went on for a full week. It did. My mania went on for 1 full week. It did almost a week, 5 days. But after those 5 days, it was better. It was all right. And my psychiatrist said to me, Glenn, no, you're not crazy. You're just stressed out.
Yeah. I think that's important, obviously, if you're doing stuff, you know, again, I think it's
See,
important.
if everything's all right till I get nervous.
Yeah.
See, once I get nervous is not a good side of me.
But you know the good thing about that is, see, to be able to, I think, sort of, I mean, excuse me if I'm speaking out of turn here, but as a friend of yours, I feel like you put a lot of pressure on yourself to be the character.
I definitely
do. And I think that maybe if you're struggling as yourself, and then you're like, I have to put up this front for maybe people on social media,
for everybody else,
and then you're not looking after yourself, and that's why, like,
definitely,
we've had our moments, you know, and have been like, sometimes you'll have a go at me or something, and I'll be like, Glenn, hold on, take a step back. This is not the way of it at all.
Calm down, Glenn. And he understands the situation. And then I'm like, I relax it. Sometimes I worry, but I haven't really much. I swear I haven't this year. Like, wee silly things happen. I haven't let that bit get to me at all. I swear. It's like I can control my brain.
Yeah.
Well, and decide that's not going to make nothing can make me react.
Yeah, and that's good. And I think as well, like, for people now to know that side of you,
Dave, I have to get on with it. I mean, I've weighed up my options. I've thought about it, and I've actually even dreamt about it. I've dreamt I could become an aesthetic model for battery operated devices. But God, I dreamt Angela Merkel went and bought it.
The
German Chancellor.
Sorry, what are battery operated devices like?
Like the meal
sex toys.
Yeah, the meal My Johnson.
Uh-huh.
And Angela Merkel went and bought it. That's what I
So
dreamt.
you mean making a
yeah.
How does Angela Merkel go about getting her hands on your
I just dreamt that she bought it.
Well, there you go. Angela Merkel.
The German Chancellor bought an inspired toy that was inspired by my member.
Now, when did you get this thought?
Well, I was trying to weigh up my options, and then I was thinking about it, and then I ended up dreaming about it, and I was like,
because
that's not right.
There's something
that can't be right.
There's something that's quite hot at the minute. Speaking of members.
No.
And I feel it's something you may or may not have an opinion on.
If you're watching this now, we're at the week of the Ace of Wands night in the Devonish, where the women were palm grasping. What I want to know is how they manage to keep it up. It must be the wee rings. I bet you those wee rings, those seals. We should have put them on my TikTok shop.
Yeah. Well, I don't know. I've never had use of one before. Have you ever used one?
A battery operated device?
No, a ring.
Well, yeah, but I don't really think it's not very comfortable.
No, so apparently, I mean, now for those who don't know, a cock ring is the aim for that is to keep your member going for action. I don't know how it does just go on, cut the blood off, and that's it.
I think it goes on whenever they're soft. and then when it goes all hard, it makes it hard. But I don't know. It was a night of fun. I don't know why everybody's got their knickers in a twist.
But you know what? To me, whenever I saw it, I thought
it was a sausage party.
It was a lot of fun.
It was a lot of fun, and it was a sausage party.
Do you not
Listen, let the girls have fun.
People need to relax themselves. See all the stuff
On the way
on
down here, my sister did show me a video, and a lady did have CUM in her hair.
Now, this is what we were talking about last night. How did that come to be? Were they just shooting?
I said to them on the way down, listen, if they come again, we're going to go.
Mm-hmm. Well, would you go? I would go with you.
I would go. I was thinking of bringing my nanny and my granny.
And does your nanny know about what's going on?
Listen,
or would
it's
it be
exciting for older women. It's exciting for older women to see a throbbing penis. I mean, it is. It's exciting for them. That's why you hear them squealing, teeing and giggling. Because I haven't seen one, and some of them in a long time.
But Glenn, exciting is like if you're a kid going to Disneyland. Are you saying that the XXL Pleasure Boys are the Disneyland for pensioners?
Yeah, possibly, yeah.
But I am a man who has a willy. You know, most men have willies.
Me too.
Some people, don't acknowledge that.
Albeit we will admit sometimes in our 30s it doesn't work as best as what it did when we were, say, 16.
But what I want to point out is I didn't think to have equipment of such a grand stature was real.
But
I didn't know
got a
they were
beard.
that big.
You've got the beard.
Uh-huh.
Do you know what else is the whole thing? What do you want for Valentine's Day, love? I want you to grow a beard. It's a simple request.
But what I'm saying, Glenn, these guys are running about with things bigger than this, and they're swinging. They're big swinging. I've never seen things like it.
And you could see the veins.
It was unbelievable. It was literally like people joke about a third leg. Some of those guys were like a third leg. And like, see if you're swinging that, and the women get hit with that.
Getting erect, you would get all light in the head and all. You'd be like, fuck.
You could knock women out. Like, see if you're a pensioner there and you get hit too hard, you could fall.
Some of them could have been a prosthetic model, an aesthetic model, whatever you call it, prosthetic model.
But I don't know. I saw there was a photo I saw of a girl who probably about our age, and she was surrounded by willies. And I've never seen a face with more joy on it. She was having a great time.
Practically glee.
But you know what? I think, see if you're in a scenario like that, put the phones away.
Why is everybody going crazy?
Put the phones away. It's on Nolan.
I know.
Like, come on.
I'm not even going to say something because I'm telling you now, I really will. I'll end up with a legal order. But someone has a cheek to talk about anybody whenever a certain person shared a certain person's, the certain staff members, do you know what I mean? Maybe no one's just raging he wasn't there. He could have brought Audrey. He wouldn't think of calling my mad like that. You know what I mean? See, I know my granny would love it.
But you know what?
I know Mrs. Nolan would love it.
But I didn't know.
Let's get her out of the house.
I didn't know it was the... Like, I would have assumed that the Pleasure Boys would have just been a dance. I didn't think it'd be the full...
thought it would have been a dance.
Full waltz.
Full sausage fest.
Yeah.
I didn't realize.
Everything, holes and all.
I wasn't even that there. I was surprised at them even being erect. Usually when you see a stripper, girls have all seen the strippers that you get. It's never like... it's a bit of fun.
I didn't think those guys were erect. I thought they had big Sammy McElroys on. I didn't think that the full...
No, some of them were. You could see the veins.
Mm-hmm. But they were just... I just couldn't get over them, the size of it. And
I said to my master they were taking something.
Mm-hmm. Cialis, maybe?
One of them little blue pills.
You do black pills now too, apparently.
Is there black ones?
I've heard that they're super strong ones. I think you need about 4 or 5. I think you need OD on those.
See, to be honest with you, some of your followers may know. Mm-hmm. Lads, the jelly's better than the oral jelly's better than the pill.
Is that a euphemism or is that a...
No, it's actual fact. What is it called? It's not fag. It's fag. Like something gel. It's like a gel, and it. Not a bait.
See, well, listen.
But actually, make inches bigger.
All I know, there's a lot of comedy shows coming up in the Devonish, and I think, like Paddy McDonald, I know he's got one out. He's just gonna have to do it with his deck out.
Yeah.
He's just gonna have to get the wall
and swing it all about.
Yeah, but you know what? See, if I did that and I'm swinging it like those guys, it would be like the wee thing that stops the door from hitting the wall. Ding. Well, there'd be no swinging. It would be.
I think we should get Shane to do it.
He would, of course. If anyone would love to do it, it'd be him.
But I think too, but something's telling me he has the biggest snake.
The biggest snake.
That's why they had to chop its head off.
Wow. Well, you know what? I can't comment on that, but I do know if, like we could get into who's got big ones on here, but
it's not that there. It's how you. I think it's electric. It's definitely electric.
Because you know what my wee granny used to say? It's not the size of the snake; it's the weight behind it. You know what I mean?
Yep.
So
weight behind it. Weight behind it.
Yeah.
My granny used to say, Glenn, see if you're going to get into a fight, you know what you do right away? You go right in the eyes first.
Alright, I was wondering where that was going.
Agnes
see if
is vicious.
you get in a fight, bomb them hard.
Agnes is vicious. Wasn't allowed.
How's she doing?
She's doing fantastic. She was a wee bit delirious and that over Christmas, a wee bit, but she's doing good. She's going to get her other knee done soon.
And again,
I don't know if we're doing the right thing making her mobile, but at the end of the day, we'll be able to get wee days out.
Yes, no, that's good. But I mean, look, that's a lot of fun. I'm just thinking too now.
Grandma said she's either fighting with the doctor, she's fighting with the chemist. She's not happy if she's not fighting with somebody.
Is she fighting with him?
They gave her the wrong morphine patch, you see.
But here's the thing, though. He obviously wants her
She
mobile.
knows strengths. She knows
can
strengths.
go
She knows brand names. See, if you change the brand name of the medication, there's war. War.
Do you know what? I know what that's like. Because see, if I don't get my right inhaler, it doesn't work the same. It looks
And
the same.
that's why I came back from England, you know, because I couldn't get my medication. And I thought it was just an England thing. Turned out it was a worldwide shortage of the 30 milligrams. So when I went to see my psychiatrist, they put me on 40s. I asked for them.
Do you feel in yourself if you're not getting the right medication? You're like,
Well, if you Google what it is, Elvans, you'll see that the key ingredient is a form of amphetamine. So it does allow me to concentrate, and I do feel, I have to be honest, I do feel good. Every day I feel like I'm in a good mood.
And you look good too. And see, like I must say,
I've no
the
makeup
beard
on
looks
today.
good.
I have no makeup on today. None,
hair-
absolutely none.
But the hair's looking good.
I'm using a collagen bed at the minute. Collagenic red lights. It was developed by NASA. It's a science project. In another 3 years, I'm going to be nearly 40.
And you're going to look like a wee alien then if you keep going
know.
like all the
I
NASA
know.
stuff on you.
I know. Half the fucking age backwards.
Well, you know what you do. You look well. The hairpiece is looking great.
The hairpiece is fantastic.
You know what I also feel like is sometimes whenever people are, I always find you remember things. Like I remember a friend of mine who went through a period of being really angry and aggressive, and he always wore the same hat.
Yeah.
And I was like, that when he wears that hat, it's trouble.
The whole time the hair was green. Glenn felt really mean.
Do you think there's anything?
Really,
do you think
really mean.
There's anything with that, and you're glad to see the back of it?
It's Parash, that wig. No, I like the wig and I like the green and all, but that was me, like, just, I don't know how to explain it.
For the listeners, is Pazuzu back in the box? Is that what we're saying?
Pazuzu is really back in the box. Honestly, I'm actually excited about things again. I'm excited about, like, even working on them, like, let's go.
And in terms of the work, is it back to the readings?
All systems go, really. I did have a wee bit of a break, but then I went over to England and I was flat out over there. I did enjoy it, but I didn't take on any group bookings until February. So I've done 3 group bookings already this month, and I'm fully rolling ahead.
And what's Glenn work? What are the goals now? So see now you've set
I
back,
want
what
to
are you
start a
looking to do?
podcast, Dave. I'm going to start a podcast. A friend of mine owns the Chester. We're going to do like mocktails or lunch, whatever I'm going to call it, like a power lunch. I want to interview. You said to me the last time, Glenn, perfect your interview skills.
Like this guy? Nah, I'm
Like
the worst
perfect
interviewer
my
in the world.
interview skills. So I want to do that there, because I like being creative, something different.
Yeah.
I do. I mean, I've got enough on set, like all my workways. I've enough on that way. Like
And you still have...
one of my things this year is I know I want to meet Andy Cohen. I want to read Housewives, and I know I'd lost the plot with that for a while too. Forgot about it and was like, no, I don't. But now I care about it again.
And what then do you...
Andy Cohen's seen my story. They all have, and I'm telling you, I mailed him and I said, for those who love the Housewives, Catherine, if you're watching, I mailed him and I said, listen to me. I don't think Morgan Wade and Teddy Mellencamp are good for this show. It seems they don't appreciate the feminism you've already cultivated. Andy Cohen, you're a god.
And did he reply?
No, but the next day, Kyle Richards and Morgan Wade took everything off social media, all the photos of them together. This neo-feminism trying to hijack something that's already profoundly feminist. I don't think so.
Now, I'll be honest with you, Glenn. I don't know anything.
You need to watch The Housewives.
See, it's a dangerous, slippery slope for
It's-
me. If I watch one, I'll get into it.
You see,
and then
those girls have got me through. They got me through.
And now you want... That's your manifesting to read them.
Yes, I would love to go and read them and create all drama.
And do you have anything you want to do? Do you still want to pursue anything in front of the camera?
I
Is there
think I
anything
might want to do... this is the whole funny thing. I think I might want to do a wee bit of comedy now. See, now that I'm actually feeling like I can string a sentence together, I can, like, focus on what I want to do. Like, you just don't understand. Say if I'm not medicated correctly and it's not working correctly, like, I literally get distracted. I get so distracted. Everything affects me. Every wee thing. Bottle of water affected. Affected. Soaking wet. Like, everything's extreme. But see, now it's like I can focus and I can place everything. So now I'm like, yeah, I think I could do comedy again.
But do you want to? That's the thing. Is it something you...
I like to have a laugh, and I think my brain's working better right now.
Because what would I say? I
was even thinking about this, and my first show could be called Kingdom. It could be about me being a full king. The first thing I do, blah, blah, blah. A principality of Cave Hill. Look, listen, see if you keep it up. I'm
mean-
going to buy you a Duke, Dave. I'm going to get him, and you could be the Duke of Sealand.
What I would like to see some promo shots of you and Cave Hill. I think that'd be a lot of fun.
I think that's something we need to arrange.
That'd be a lot of fun. I'd be up for
Napoleon and his big nose.
Mm-hmm.
Know what I mean?
Is that what the hell's called? Napoleon's nose?
And it is. It looks like his head. It looks like his head.
Mm-hmm.
Napoleon's nose. What if it's a giant really buried there? And the nostrils of the caves. You have to get in them caves.
Have you not been in them? No.
No, never.
What about what you feel? Because again, that's something I still think, like, I'd like to do is going, like we did the Lesser Spooked Ulster, which was fun. But
I know, and I mailed a certain executive producer, and she said, Glenn, I hope you're really well. We have no current plans to continue with Lesser Spooked Ulster right now. Do you see the current lineup we've put on right now? And I says, oh yes, it's great, it's fantastic. But what I'm going to say, and I'm going to say it here now, the comedians all got their way, and now it's all comedian stuff, and there is comedian stuff. However, we still need something extra, I think.
What do you mean by extra?
Like Lesser Spooked was something extra. It's something extra.
Yeah.
It is. It's fun. It's not like necessarily sad. I always think if they did make it into a series, it should always be left unsaid. You never ever make up your mind whether something's spooked or not. It should always be left on like a cliffhanger. I do feel like there's potential.
Yeah,
There is.
but you know what? It's one of those things. I don't think it maybe was done the way, you know, it was
I mean,
hard
all
to
this
do.
comedic chit chat's good. It's fantastic. It's fantastic to see you on with a big broadcast and corporation. It's fantastic. But we want to see something extra. We want extra.
But look, all there's been is what the stand-up show's been on at the minute.
I
you know, that's
know.
it.
I know.
And how
it's
long's
good
that
too,
been
like.
since there's been anything for?
It's been a wee
Comedy
while, like, but
stand's
it's good to
hard.
see comedians on too. It's good to see BBC are putting comedians on. Like, it's good to
But
see
you know
their-
what?
The comedy lineup is quite good. It is good.
Let's see if it continues. That's all I'll say.
Yeah,
like there'll be
well.
one-offs, and we'll see.
You know, when we bit sick, like, oh, I don't know.
What do you feel? Tell me if you. I mean,
Well, I know that I shouldn't really say, but maybe it was true because it's in the public interest. Maybe the ratings are struggling at a certain corporation. Maybe it is time for change. Maybe it's time for us to think progressively. Maybe it's time to say what works, what doesn't work. Maybe it's time to be more inclusive.
and what do you feel?
Inclusive.
What do you feel in terms of?
Well, look at some of the mindful conversations we have around this table.
Yes.
A lot of intel. And then there's a certain man, I'm not going to say his name, I mentioned his mother earlier. And I'm being honest, he talks like the way my great-granddad's would have been done. Not very smart.
But when you're talking about comedy, there and you,
Teeth and powder.
and I feel like, you know, I think I can read you a bit. Whenever you say, I felt you what do you see's next for me now? 'Cause it's been a while since we've seen each other. What do you reckon?
Dave, there's a lot of writing for you coming up. There really is a lot of writing. Obviously, I know you're going to be a part of a certain series, which I feel like I already called out. It wasn't really for me, it was for you. You know what I mean? I wanted you to play a baddie. So, I mean, it's going to be fantastic, but I do think you need to write more sitcom-y like shows. And I actually do feel like that whole thing that I read, I'm going to actually send it all to you, and then you can...
Yeah. Because you know what? I think...
Because I was produced by, and Dave told me, Glenn, don't do anything until they pay you money. And I went and gave them ideas, and honest to God, I've told them anyway, go ahead and use my ideas, because it'll never be as authentic as the way I wrote it. I went to the caravan for like, and I was sick of me.
Glenn, this is what I'm saying. You
So
always
fun.
got to make sure, because ideas, people can always take ideas. You know what I mean? So just be careful if you have them.
Well, it was basically about a sitcom, a fake
Keep
sitcom,
it under your hat.
about a fake guru called Guru Glenn, who like is perplexed, and he can't help but love the other oddballs he becomes friends with. And who are these oddballs? These TikTokers, these influencers, these red carpet crawling creepies that Glenn is a part of too. But Glenn gets to it's like friends and family by proxy, with a bit of that whole social media thing.
You know what? You've just told everyone the premises, Glenn. Keep it under your hat.
I know,
But at least it's
because
out there.
I want them to like belly up about it and think about it and go, and then they could just, you know what I mean, queue up outside BBC, get the pitchforks out and say, right, we would love to see us come into creation here.
But do you believe in manifestation? See stuff like that? If you
I
talk
do,
about it,
but
do you believe it
I
comes to
will
light?
tell you something. What Glenn the human may want, Glenn's human idea might be as simple as that tin, right? However, the universe might know the whole table, all the tins, even the dog. The universe might know all that. As where Glenn can only see sometimes the
110?
yes.
Yeah.
Understand that.
I don't.
So it's basically
so the bigger picture.
You can go, yes, I want that, and I want it in that colour. Yes, you'll get it. But what if the universe wants you to have it in every colour? And the newest model, that you haven't even thought of yet because it hasn't even come out yet.
But do you think so? You know, way like this is where I think we're at a stage now. You see a lot of this online. A lot of people, life coaches. A lot of people. There's now one thing that again,
Get me started,
what people
Dave.
will ask.
Can I bust out crying in this podcast about my episode I had like Dave? Hold on, let me just get into the scene in a minute. What I went through, Dave, and I'm not projecting on this podcast to manipulate you now because I'm so positive about it all.
But what I want to point out, because sometimes people will ask, if they're asking me, oh, how's Glenn or this or that, or if people don't know you, and they hear you're a psychic or a Santa, so a lot of people will sometimes go, that's all, this or that, people are trying to do that just to take a hand of people, blah, blah. One thing I want to say about you that I think is very important is that one of the reasons why you don't do the mediumship is because you don't want to, I feel very much that your intention is good.
Yeah.
You know, whereas people can come on and be like, just give us the money.
Well, that's one of the reasons why I don't do like stage mediumship. I love it, and when I do mediumship, I do it, but it's always individual. It's always face to face. It's always heartfelt. It's always like life changing. It's life changing.
I was doing a gig in the Strand once, and there were some folks that were there were saying that there was a medium that performed there, and they had a lot of people in the crowd, and they were coming out saying stuff like, I see a man. Like, bear in mind, Strand's East Belfast. I see somebody. And there's a picture of the Queen on the wall, and they're going, oh, and he worked in the shipyard. You know,
Angela the other night, like Angela Dunlop, she's good, and she called out my nanny's nephew getting murdered. But it's not even that there too. What is weird is, I have a best friend that was shot, female. My nanny had a sister that was shot in the face and in the arm. Like, and then there's another wee girl that my auntie knew who was shot, and she was only a baby. And like, what is it with women being shot?
But I'm just saying, what my point was that they go to an area, they say the obvious, but because they're saying to people like, oh, was his name Billy? Did he support Rangers? And they're like, East Belfast, yes, likely to work in the shipyard, likely to be a loyalist or unionist. You know, and people will go, and then they'll.
Spirits came through, like, I mean, it's not always like seeing the one night, but like, you stole the ring when they were dead, they told you to do it, and you heard it in your mind, your siblings don't know you have that ring. Like, other times, it's like, you're glad that bastard's dead, aren't you? Like, you don't always, like, it's different for every person, but sometimes the message is different. Yeah. And it's not always set for, like, everyone else's ears. Grief's very personal. And your relationships with other people are very personal. How you may see someone and receive a message may be different to the person next to you.
But then you don't really like do that side of things.
I don't advertise all that witchy mediumship stuff.
But what I'm saying to you is that there is a group of people now. They're doing this. Like, say, we'll use a life coach for example. They're coming out and basically all they do is join up my program, pay X amount of money. Here, get up a bit earlier. If
I see another podcast. And at the end of the podcast, it's like literally pay £1,500. I mean, I'm going to squeal because I mean it is manipulation and it's icky. Like, and all I'm saying is, and I'll tell you the exact reason why. I've had people tell me before in the past, you know, Glenn, you shouldn't really be taking those ADHD meds because that's the government and that's this and that's that and all. Everything's herbalistic and no, love, that's dangerous. That's a dangerous mentality.
But let me ask.
It is.
See, there's a reason why people...
And you can go and dip yourself in the water all you like. I will not wash you of your sins. See all these people cold dipping in the tub. Well, we got a tub. You know, cold dip. You've got the fucking hard nips.
Well, listen, don't even start me because you know my view on the sea swimmers. You know, I've said it many times.
But what is we all this cold water dipping at the minute?
But you know what?
It seems to be a trend.
But it is a trend. But I think, like, if something is, say... I was reading a study recently about vitamins. Multivitamins it was, and they said they did a test and they gave X amount of people a placebo but there's no effect, and then they gave somebody these multivitamins. However, the multivitamins were also a placebo, but they told them it was a multivitamin. So the people taking the multivitamins, they actually... I know,
that was like at one time that we were at a party, well not me and you, but years ago I was at this party and a certain, you know, that ALS, that S word, that D word, there was there, and we pretended, and the girl she was a greedy bastard. This is why we did this, where her in her own head she thought she took like 3 or 4, she rolled about that floor and she pissed herself.
But you didn't take anything?
No.
Yeah.
No.
See, it's all the head. So then with the cold water stuff, I think a lot of it is to do with, you know, it's a mind thing too.
It is.
You know, if you can do that, and you think, you know, you get into consistency of it. Now, there is obviously, I actually have bought the Wim Hof book to read, because he's the originator and the big proponent of pushing cold water therapy and ice baths and this, and I want to learn about it, because again, whenever I was having to go to sea swimmers, my issue is, see, if you go swimming in the sea, work away. Yeah. But see, when you go in, you just go, you dip your minge and you get out. Not really the same.
I mean, it's all fun and games, but are you really doing that without a camera in front of you? Yeah. Are you really doing that without a camera in front of you, where you're uber positive and you're like, come on. Come on. Each to their own. I mean, each to their own, but I think.
But I also think, see, the whole, like, if it's
I'm saying what I think.
But if you have good mindset, that helps everything. But again, like, I can only take myself, for example. Like, I've been probably struggling with my, not to say my mind as such, but making excuses for stuff that's made me get into the difficulties I've been in terms of my weight and other stuff. Now, I feel like that's not all about, right, you go and do it, you do this. There's so many wee elements you have to all get together to actually go, right, let's do it. And I think now I've done that. Yeah. But I think with like all this, like, cool, like if people are always looking.
There's a lot of people out there at the minute trying to sell a lifestyle.
But you know what? But people are always looking to improve themselves, and if they think a lot of people fall, in my opinion, for what is a quick fix to anything.
Well, for a start, we should never have idols. It forbids having idols in the Bible. We should not have idols. You should not be looking up to another person going, they're your leader or they're your end all be all. I mean, you really shouldn't. You can take certain aspects of someone and go, I like that quality, but we see a lot of cult-like leadership at the minute.
But also see a lot of what goes on in social media and things. That's not the true reflection of the day-to-day life of the people. You know, you only, like, it is a highlight reel of what you want to see.
And it's interesting for me too, because I can read beyond, and I can see sometimes what some people are going through. And some people really do come from a really good place. Some people come from a really beautiful place, actually. But other people out there are honestly, they've had every other business going, and it's about just the financial gain. It is.
But I mean, like, money will change people. You know, we've seen it in certainly in comedy as well. I mean, you see people, it does. But
I don't like all this. That's what worries me. I would never want to be like that.
See, I think if your goals are not financially driven, if financial, like, obviously keep the roof over your head and other things,
keep the roof from the door.
But you know, you have to have the why you do stuff has to be better, doesn't it?
Yes, it has to be what you do. You have to enjoy it more.
I mean, there's nothing to stop you realistically now if you wanted to go, right, here, I'm going to go up, I'm going to milk this, I'm going to say I can speak to your parents and all. Let's go.
Yeah, oh my God, yeah.
I can
capitalise on it so much, but again, I can only see so many individual people. So, like, and that's the way I prefer to do it right now, as individual. I like the personal touch. I like being able to have face-to-face and personal contact people, because it's a better message. Like, it's better than a broader message. Because when you're with someone personally, there's things you can say to them that, like, no, that are not, isn't meant for anybody else's ears. You know what I mean? I prefer it that way. But there's so many I can do.
How do you cope with? Do you say what you think, or do you? There's just
I connected a girl before Christmas. I was actually away. This lovely wee girl. I connected her with her daddy. Her daddy was murdered in Jamaica. She had a couple of sons. I mean, she was drawn to me. She needed the message. I gave her the message, and it was beautiful. Like she said, she never experienced anything like that. She died 3 days later in her bed, and they're saying it's natural causes. Mm-hmm. I go to myself, if I hadn't connected her with her daddy, would she really have went way to Jamaica and fight him? Mm-hmm. She was going to take her boys to Jamaica. And does that weigh on you then, stuff like that happens? It then poses other questions where I don't have the answer to. Mm-hmm. Do you know what I mean? See, that's where. And then I go to myself, if only I hadn't opened my mouth, but then only I had another client that then didn't do a reading. But I knew in myself. Like I felt like exploded. It was like, whoa, I went too far. That day, the energy, goosebumps, like solid for 20 minutes. Just wouldn't go away. These big rushes of energy. It was powerful. It was a beautiful exchange. But just I think about it in hindsight, and I go, Glenn, my goodness, what have you did? Connect her with her daddy, and what a flick. She found peace, and that was it. Her mission was over. Same way her daddy left her, the same way she left her boys, and it's the same fucking spell over again. Mm-hmm. And do you believe that it's like a curse? Is that a right word? It's a beautiful thing, really. Mm-hmm. It's a beautiful thing. Because my God, we boys who don't have their mother, I know it's sad, but my God, do they grow up to be strong men? Mm. It's all a lot to do, because again, I can't get my head around a lot of the elements that the devil seems to invert everything. He wants everything inverted, right? That's what they say. But with, like, obviously we've had our chats before about crystals, you know, the benefits of or not. What's the, for someone who's not into who may view like crystals as, say, hocus pocus? Yeah. How do you say to someone Get
does
a
that
black
do?
obsidian. It's called an Apache teardrop. It comes from the Apache women of the Apache tribe.
But what does it do?
When
Like
the
what?
Indians came, the women ran up the mountain, and so did the kids. They cried so hard that their tears went into the volcanic glass. This is why you get an Apache teardrop stone. When you hold it to light, it's transparent. You can see through it. It acts as a prescription pair of sunglasses for your third eye, allowing you to see more, but also blocking the bad.
But
So
what?
it's a great development stone. Apache teardrop, black obsidian. It's volcanic glass.
But what do crystals do? What are the benefits
To
of
change your-
crystals?
well,
And
I'll
how do
tell
they
you.
work? Or how
When
do
I
you
got
believe they
bitten in
work?
that time, I wore a quartz pointed crystal that Chris Riley had given me. When I got choked and I got my neck bit, that broke and released. Crystals, especially quartz, sometimes will pull the negativity towards it. It'll pull the negativity towards it. So I always find it's important. See if you lose a crystal somewhere, you're meant to lose it. You are meant, and often you'll lose it when something happens.
But for people that are
That
like,
protected me. If that hadn't have been around my neck, tight.
but for people that don't know what they are, like for me, like remember there's a new crystal shop open in Bangor,
Minerals.
and I went in.
They're
But
minerals.
how does that connect or work with the human body? Does it have a physical effect, or is it a mental thing? What does it?
It's more like a vibrational thing.
Because there's a thing now too, like they do like sound baths and things. That's
Yeah.
to do with your body being 90% water,
Frequency.
and it can all. And do crystals omit
Different
vibrations or
frequencies, they definitely
frequencies?
do. They resonate different frequencies.
And so, if you were in a room with, say, are there rooms out there that if you go in, you'd be super relaxed because of what the crystals do, or is there, or what they do? And take for example
If I'm playing with all gemstones and you can get a crystal high.
Mhm.
If I go into a crystal shop, I'm like in heaven, even if I don't buy anything.
Mhm.
You'd be in awe of the crystals.
and-
They'll like you to pay them attention. They're alive. They're conscious.
But if you are not, say you're a skeptic and you go in the crystal shop and you're like, oh, it's just balls. What?
It's
How
a
could you make a
computer.
believer of somebody?
It's a computer, and the crystals contain the codes. It's the only way I can't make anybody a believer. You've either got it or
Yeah.
you're not. They're either
Because-
drawn to you or not. And I've always been, crystals have just came to me.
And where do I put my money stone? Because it's on my or on my
Well, where do you
windowsill.
make your money? It needs to be here. You need to have it here somewhere. You need,
To
or
charge
I
it
would
up.
keep it in your pocket when you're out doing your gigs.
Yeah, but then the only thing about that is it would hurt because my jeans are all tight now, and if it's in my pocket, I have a big one.
One question I keep getting asked at the minute, Dave, is if I think WW3 will happen. And I think, well, we might as well be anticipating, because at the end of the day, if we get conscripted, whatever you want to call it,
Well-
look, we'll all be in the same bunk.
But the good news about us being
We're the same age.
we're too old now though.
But
We are. We're
I've always
the young
wanted to
boys.
play a plane.
Yeah, I hope there's no world war. What do you reckon? You with your boy Putin?
Well, I don't think we need to worry about Putin, as much as I don't like him and he's a bastard, and as much as I'm a Zionist like the rest of us. I don't like him. However, I will say to you, I think we need to worry about Xi Jinping.
In China.
China.
Yeah.
China. Everything comes from China. It does. Xi Jinping, you don't know what he's thinking, you don't know what he's saying, you don't know what he's doing. We don't know what that man's at.
Oh, if you had a message to him right now, what would that be?
Well, Xi, what's the crack?
There you go. Cross about the borders, hands across, and see what they're up to. But no, and I want to ask a personal question now about me. Whenever we first met, the first thing you said, watch out for the blood sugar. How are we doing now?
Blood sugar. I feel like your blood sugar is a lot better, but you've got to watch out for blood pressure.
Blood pressure?
Yes, I feel like it's something else that's going to be like, fuck me.
Yeah, but you know what comes from blood pressure? Blood diamonds, mate.
Diamonds? What are diamonds? Crystals.
There you go.
You see now?
It all comes
It all
back to it.
clicks.
It all comes full
It all
circle.
Clicks.
Yeah, no, I'm just glad because I do. Listen, this is the thing. I do feel better now. I don't feel as like lethargic with life, and I'm more positive mentally too.
Life will pull you down into the gutter
Yeah.
if you let it.
But you know what does help? See, being physically better, it does help your bonds, and vice versa.
It definitely does. Your body likes to move. Your body needs to move.
And you're a big
more.
walker, aren't you? You like to get
Well,
out
I've
and
been
go for
getting
a-
out walking again. I have, yeah. For a while there, I wasn't going out at all, but yeah, I walk a bit more now.
Do you know anything about this? Is another big fad. Like I don't hate to use the word fad because I don't know enough about it. But people are saying now to get out first thing in the morning and put your bare feet on the soil. Is there anything in that? Is that a thing?
Well, it can be a nice morning ritual, I suppose.
Mhm.
But I do feel like at some point in the year, it doesn't have to be in the cold winter. I mean, you want to definitely walk along a beach. You want to get your feet in the water. It's electromagnetic. It brings electric. Do you ever see lightning? Lightning actually comes from the earth. It does.
Mm-hmm.
So they say.
But I just don't know. I don't know. I see all this stuff. This is the thing that I would say to people. I hate when people are like, "That's bollocks. That's bullshit." You know
That's
why?
a lot of fucking shit.
Because you know why?
Nobody's asking you.
And nobody knows. Do you know what I mean? This is
Exactly.
the thing. Nobody knows. And see the same with
Exactly.
God. If you want to
Nobody
believe
knows.
in God, work away.
Nobody knows.
But no one
Exactly.
can prove it. So until you can do that.
People are entitled to believe what they like for now. For now.
And what's your feeling then? Do you have any... Because it's been a while since we've been speaking about the sort of the psychic side of things. What do you see the world coming for the world? Is there going to be more... Because it's been a tough few years. Is there any light at the end of the tunnel, or are things going to get worse before they get better?
We're going to see a lot more chaos, to be honest, we are. And I think we're going to see a lot more, like, inflation. Everything's going to go through the roof. People are going to get very angry. I mean, the good news is I think here in Northern Ireland it's going to be better than what it was, slightly. But everywhere else is going to experience it.
Which I fucking hate. You know, I'm glad Storm's back, though. That's a
know.
bonus.
I know.
Bloody long last.
At least...
You know, like last time we went out for lunch together, we ended up sitting in the doctor's surgery waiting on a wee letter. See bloody doctors, GPs and all that. That needs fixed. That needs...
But they're pushed.
sorted.
They're pushed to them. I have to say, mine haven't been too bad. Like they haven't been too bad.
But it's I blame Storming for everything. Every
Well,
problem
I did,
today.
but I can't blame them now because I mean, and it's good to have a woman in control.
See, that's a good question. A couple of women up there now. The first and deputy.
Well, I will say I did see Michelle O'Neill go into the Shankill Women's Group, Shankill Women's Centre, which I never ever thought I would ever see
Did
in
you go
my
to see her,
lifetime.
or was
No,
you
but I
just
seen it
on-
online,
right,
and I
okay.
thought to myself, my goodness, that's something I'm very consciously positive about. Is the Northern Ireland Women's Group. If you're at home and you're sitting going, what the fuck, I've done all this massive, I need a fucking house, not yet. Go down to the Women's Centre, enroll in some of the group. It's great. And I just think it was good to see her there. Like,
And do you think the women being in power is a better thing for the country, or do you think,
Yes, definitely.
'Cause you're a
It
big-
can only, the world can only change through the mothers. Only change through the mothers, not the fathers, the mothers.
So let's watch this space.
Watch this space.
Glenn, the people have asked a lot of questions here for you, so I'm going to get into it now, and I'm going to ask you a few of the questions here. Let me get it in. First and foremost, Jane has just asked, just one question only: how is our Glenn?
Glenn is feeling well, practically euphoric every day, and it's the ADHD is very under control right now. I'm feeling optimistic. I'm feeling very excited about the future, and I feel overall happy. I haven't been a grumpy bear. I haven't been grumpy at all.
You know what? Actually, I think this is the first time I've done the podcast where you've not threatened to spread the cheeks, and I think that's a good thing.
Spread them.
Because normally you come in and you shout at me and you go, listen, if you do this, I'm going to get you. But there's been no threats.
No
It's
threats.
been good.
There's been no threats.
Liam's going to...
I'm going to try and work on being a wee bit more passive aggressive instead of outwardly aggressive.
Well,
Do you know what I mean? It works
then
better.
I'll build up and get it out in the end. Liam says, I asked this question on Shane's live stream and I got roasted for it. Bullshit. But what's your opinions on me, 23 years old, but still a grumpy old guy, wearing corduroy trousers? Far comfier than jeans, and I'm not trying to be a hipster. But what's your opinions on tracksuits in pubs as
Oh,
well?
you read my mind. I'm going to be honest. I was thinking this. I'm even getting ready. You see, I have a shirt, I have a nice blazer and all out. And Dave's like, oh, you look very well today. And just as I was doing my jeans and all this morning, I was like, fuck doing this every day. Like, I would rather be in a pair of shorts, a tracksuit. Like, come on. Like, this is what I mean. I love to go to certain balls, galas, and fucking events and everything. But have I got the energy to get dressed up every night? No.
No, but you know what?
I don't.
You strike me as somebody that, though you do take a lot of pride in your appearance and your
Whenever
effort,
I've got things to do, yes.
But if you're going to something like would you throw on you? But then, even whenever you're in, like Glenn casual is not Dave casual.
Glenn
like Glenn
Casuals, I'm
Casual-
like a tramp when I run about
No,
the streets
no,
like
but
I am.
it's you
I am.
with the
Tracksuits and all covered in paint and everything. Because, like, I mean, I don't care. I'm not always polished. People think I am. I'm not.
But,
Really not.
But compared to me, I'm like Onslow from keeping up appearances.
Dave,
You're like
you're
Ali
mad.
G in your tracksuits.
You are very, Dave, you're very more better well groomed than most.
Well, you know what? I always smell nice.
So you are.
I care about my personal hygiene.
Dave, I think you should become a model for a prosthetic model.
I would need the work
We
first.
could call
before-
it Dave's Dong. We could get it mass produced. China could make it. And we could put it on sale by October.
I mean, it'd be an interesting merch line to go along
Yeah,
with the
it would.
podcast, wouldn't it?
You
I
could
think
do all the wee key rings and all too. Dave's Dong.
Dave would.
You know what I mean?
Was anyone out there?
I'll
keen
charm
to
it.
buy
There you go. Tell you what, if you come up with this, I'll charm it. Therefore, if anybody wears it, you'll pair goodies around your neck and you can wish upon these balls.
It would be a nice Disney film. Jiminy Dickett.
Jiminy Dickett.
When you wish
How about your man Geppetto? Wasn't he not the same as your man Geppetto that carved that wee Pinocchio?
No, well, didn't Jiminy Cricket, he hung about with
Geppetto?
I
thought that.
Or as my mum calls him, Giuseppe, but that's just
Giuseppe.
racist. Yeah.
Giuseppe, yeah.
Because when we were in Disneyland, my mum saw him and she goes to the girls, "Oh, look, go and say hello to Giuseppe." I was like, "It's Geppetto, mum."
Walt Disney was an occultist too. He loved it.
He was in...
See if you have a wee bit of time, go and you put in your YouTube, Disney Man on the Moon. You'll love it.
Well, no, when you say you love it, well, I love it. Or is
yeah.
it, Glenn,
it's proper cartoony, but like
you're going, mess with
I can't
my head?
believe I was watching Alexa Cinderella and Snow White whenever there was something called Man on the Moon. Like, explains basically how they got to the moon before they even got to the moon. And it's weird. It's weird. Tells you all the myths about it, about the lunacy, how lunacy comes from the moon, about the I swear it's full of occult secrets.
But Glenn...
See, the esoteric, what we do is we speak in a certain way as to confuse the common folk.
Well, you've succeeded in that, that's for sure.
To succeed with that.
The last time we were talking movies and things to recommend you watch.
And yes, none of you have watched The Holy Mountain.
The Holy Mountain.
You need to watch it.
Which is there's a big pit where all these guys go and they eat their own feces and eat themselves.
Yeah, it's practically an alchemist. He has to cook on his own shit in order to turn into gold.
But then does he succeed or does he just die?
He succeeds, yeah.
Does he just die?
And you go on that, well, it's really interesting. I'll tell you the very last scene. The very last scene that they're all on the mountain and right at the very end, the director goes, but this isn't a movie, bang, you start to see the fucking cameras and all, and it just keeps going on then, so you don't know whether it's actually art or whether it's a movie or not, and that's the point. Right at the very end, it's like, ding, I swear, crazy. I gave even goosebumps now thinking about it. Alexander, I can't even say a second name, but you know that was banned for years, and he's a big tarot man, he's an occultist. And
what's an occultist? For the people that are into like the devil worship and things?
No, well, the word occult simply comes from the occultation of the sun during the eclipse.
You learn something new every day.
You know what I mean? I reckon I could be occulted. The occultation of Glenn during a sex party.
Well, and why? Like, what's the connection with the occult and sex? That's what I need to know. Why are all the celebrities, all the Clintons, and all these world being accused of
sex magic?
Of eating,
everything comes from sex magic.
Eating children. What's the deal?
I mean, we literally come from our parents getting a bit. Without them having a fumble, I would not be here right now.
True.
Something in that.
But let me also say, but why do then they say that the most elite people, the high end, the richest in society, eat children? Like, to me, that sounds nonsensical.
Maybe
is that
because
bullshit
the children aren't being quiet.
But like, I think...
I mean, I understand the wee woman who had that gingerbread house and all, everything was all... I mean, she ended up having to fucking cook them because the wee bastards came along and started wrecking her house, her pristine home, destroyed it.
I know, but
and
also...
selling, what you call it, selling Gretel. She wasn't that wicked, that witch.
But all I'm going to say, Glenn, if you build a house out of gingerbread and it rains, it's fucked anyway. Birds are going to eat it. Bears are going to eat it. Hansel and Gretel were just going around. She deserved to be kicked into the oven. See, you know what would happen if the oven goes on? The fucking gingerbread will crumble because it'll get too dry anyway. That wasn't real. So what the answer to that is, you don't actually know what Bill Clinton's doing with eating children.
I don't. I like the extremes of some of these stories, but I don't know. I don't know. I haven't seen it with my own eyes. I don't know.
But do you believe there are some dark occult stuff going on in the world?
Oh, there's definitely ritual sacrifice. I mean, everything's a ritual sacrifice. Everything's sacrificial.
But do you believe sex is the driving force to all these things? Because it seems to be anybody.
No, it's not the driving force. It's the tool.
So what's that?
It's the tool. It's only a tool of the force. A tool of the force.
Because see if somebody, like, go back to this, full circle, was it in fact an occultist event at the Definition Sunday?
Make no mistake, the occult is in total working control of society today. Total working control.
And we're the Pleasure Boys.
And that's why you're so confused about what's going on in the world.
But were the Pleasure Boys, are they demonic?
Well, they were demonic. Demon dick. Talk about demon dick. We're going to have to, on that note, you go. On that note, tell us safe.
Oh, of course, you know, you'll
self-partake.
But you know what, that's
get a bit of his zest. You can smell the pheromones up in the air.
But you know what, Glenn, that's because you're a very open-minded man.
Well, I am.
You need to go, and you're not going to pass judgment until you've seen it firsthand. And I agree with you. And you know what? See if the boys come back, it'll be sold out.
I think it'll be sold out. They'll have to do the Odyssey.
You'd need to get more. You need to get more. There's not enough dick to go about, even those big ones.
I know.
And also, you know why they've got the subway cannon and they shoot subways into the crowd? Yep. You'd be shooting something else into the crowd at the Odyssey.
I don't know what people's problem is. Everybody's all grumpy about it.
But what do you think about tracksuits and pubs? That's what Liam wants to know, yay or nay?
As long as they're grey tracksuits, so when you spill your pint, I can see your willy.
There you go. as long as they're grey. I do draw a line of PJs, so you got to keep the PJs to the house.
Yes.
Have some self-respect.
Keep your crummy fucking pajamas for the house, right?
Connor says, welcome, in capitals, welcome back, Glenn.
Thank you, Connor. It's great to be back.
Did you, and the question was, did you go to the Devonish last Saturday? And would you host a version with the Northern Ireland comedians?
I would love to host a version with the Northern Ireland comedians. I'm so glad you've asked. Let's record this moment in time. Let's manifest it. Let's put it into the manifesto for 2024. And yeah, I think that would be great.
Is that why a manifesto is called a manifesto?
That's why a manifesto is called a manifesto, and you've been using manifestos for years, Dave.
What? So that's why. So you pitch a manifesto and then it comes into being. And
yes.
Wow.
You've been doing manifestos for years.
Right. You pick 4 comedians. Who are you getting in the XL?
Dave Elliott, Shane Todd, Paddy McDonnell, and Gimme Diona.
Diona wouldn't work for the XL Pleasure Boys. We're talking.
Oh, which not?
No. Diona doesn't have a deck. It's the best of my knowledge.
Oh, aye. So she doesn't. So she doesn't. All right. It'd be Shane Todd, Dave, Wee Willie, and Paddy, I think.
Yeah.
No. We forgot about Tyrone and what do you call it?
And Tommy.
Tommy, yeah. We could never forget about them too.
Are they your favourites?
They're my favourites. Mm-hmm. If I'm in the mood where I want to be brutalised, fucking choked and slammed and everything, I would just imagine them too.
I still laugh at Diona, but that was a lot of fun.
Diona would be good.
Yeah, I'm going to tell her now. Glenn thinks she's got a willy.
Diona would be very organised with it all, like, you know what I mean?
There with the clipboard, measuring, ruler.
That's just that.
Speaking of the boxing, I've meant to ask you this too. You know why Tyrone's retired now?
Yes.
And he lost his last fight to Lewis Crocker. I thought when I saw Lewis Crocker, it's like, Big Glenn likes him.
Yeah.
Do you?
I didn't like him. No, I
No?
didn't really like his attitude either.
Oh, wow.
Well, that's what Tyrone's sweet. You could not fancy Tyrone. And he's beautiful when he's got all them bruises. I just want to kiss him better.
Well, then there you go, Tyrone. See if you're ever under the weather.
Tyrone knows.
You've been on their podcast, haven't you?
I have. I love
time?
their podcast. Mm-hmm. Yes, it's good fun. Their podcast is good fun.
Good. And so the Glenn podcast, the wheels are in motion now. When can people expect to see?
Well, I'm going to be putting it in production in springtime. Mm-hmm. So it's just I need to figure out these sound bits because I don't want all like loads of equipment. It needs to be minimal. Mm-hmm. But hopefully you'll come on as a guest.
Listen, Glenn, you know fine well that if you do anything and you need anybody, I'll be there to help.
Yes.
Not a problem. It'll be my pleasure. And you know what? Genuinely, it's great to see you back.
Yes.
It's great to see you feeling yourself again. And wow, lovely.
It's great to be back. You better keep getting me on because I've missed it.
It's been fun
for me.
And you know what, Glenn? Thank you very much for speaking about some stuff that maybe wasn't the easiest to talk about. I think you'll help some people out there who maybe find it.
If you've got kids and ADHD, I know they're going to spit the medication out. They might do it like that, but when they're an adult, they might go, "I need them." You tell them, "Psychic Glenn needs his pills." L-Vans, write it down. And if they're not on L-Vans, I would talk about L-Vans because it's a very good drug.
L-Van sounds like a Spanish skateboard shoe brand.
L-Van's adult.
Listen, Glenn, it's been a pleasure. Until next time.
I'm the sly guy.